Yo, what is going on, guys? It's K Forden here, and today we are talking about what actually happened to Call of Duty. Because if you ask almost any older COD player, they will tell you the same thing. The franchise used to feel completely unstoppable. Back in the golden era of Call of Duty, every new release felt like an actual event. People stayed up for midnight launches, rushed home after school to grind multiplayer with friends, and entire lobbies felt alive. But now, even though the franchise is still massive, a lot of players think Call of Duty slowly lost what made it special in the first place. And honestly, when you compare old COD to what the series feels like now, it is not hard to understand why so many people say Call of Duty fell off. One of the biggest problems with modern Call of Duty is the amount of hackers everywhere now. Back in older COD games, sure, you would occasionally run into someone cheating, but it was nowhere near as common as it feels today. Now players constantly complain about aim borders, wall hackers, and people using cheats in multiplayer and Warzone. And honestly, nothing kills a game faster than feeling like every few matches somebody is cheating. It completely ruins the fun and makes players feel like there's no point grinding or trying to improve when somebody can just download hacks and dominate lobbies anyway. Games like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, and the original MW3 felt massive at the time. Everybody remembers those old lobbies, trying to hit trick shots, grinding camos, and hearing people rage through their microphones after dying. Even the menus and soundtrack felt nostalgic. There was just something about old COD that made it feel more social and alive compared to now. And honestly, another huge reason people think Call of Duty fell off is because the company became way too greedy. Back then, it felt like the focus was mainly on making a fun game people would actually enjoy playing. Now it feels like every single thing is designed around making as much money as possible. There are expensive bundles everywhere, battle passes every season, crossover skins that cost ridiculous amounts, and constant store updates being pushed in your face. Sometimes it honestly feels like Activision cares more about selling cosmetics than fixing the actual game. One of the biggest complaints today is skill-based matchmaking, also known as SBMM. A lot of players believe the game now constantly puts them into sweaty lobbies based on performance, which makes every match feel exhausting instead of fun. Instead of casually playing for a few hours, people feel like they have to lock in every single game just to compete. And because of that, multiplayer slowly lost that relaxed feeling old COD used to have. And honestly, that changes the entire vibe of the game. Back then, you could have random funny moments, easier matches, harder matches, and everything felt unpredictable. But now many players feel like every lobby is filled with movement demons sliding around, corners at full speed trying as hard as possible. Another thing that changed Call of Duty is how monetized everything became. Old COD games had map packs sometimes, but modern COD feels completely overloaded with bundles. Skins, battle passes, crossovers, and cosmetic stores everywhere you look. Sometimes it honestly feels like the game is trying harder to sell you something than just let you enjoy playing. And yeah, companies need to make money, but a lot of fans feel like the soul of the franchise slowly disappeared because of how corporate everything became. Every year there is another COD release, another battle pass, another store refresh, and another grind that resets all over again. It stopped feeling like games made with passion and started feeling more like products designed to maximize engagement and spending. Then there is Warzone. When Warzone first released, it genuinely felt like Call of Duty was back on top again. Everybody was playing it. Clips were everywhere, streamers exploded overnight, and during lockdown, it basically took over gaming culture. For a while, it honestly felt like old COD energy had returned, but over time, problems started building up. Players complained about hackers, bugs, balancing issues, server problems, and constant changes that made the game feel unstable. One update would completely change the meta, another would break something else, and people slowly started getting burned out. And another thing people miss is the social side of gaming. Back in old COD, Lobbies stayed together after matches. You could make random friends, trash talk the same people for hours, or just laugh at chaotic game chat moments. Modern matchmaking systems feel way more disconnected. Matches end, everybody disappears, and then you instantly load into another sweaty lobby with completely different players. It feels less like a community and more like an algorithm constantly cycling players around. But honestly, part of this might also just be nostalgia. Because when people think about old Call of Duty, they are not just remembering the games themselves. They're remembering a completely different time in life. Racing home after school, staying up late with friends, hearing old menu music through a cheap headset, getting excited over double XP weekends, and playing during a time where online gaming still felt newer and more exciting. So maybe modern Call of Duty is not completely terrible. Maybe gaming changed. Maybe communities changed. Maybe we all changed too. Because if old COD released today exactly the same way it did back then, people might still complain about it anyway. But even with nostalgia playing a role, it is hard to ignore how different the franchise feels now. Old COD felt simpler, more social, and more fun. Modern COD feels faster, sweatier, more monetized, and way more focused on keeping players engaged every second possible. And that is probably why so many people say Call of Duty fell off. Not because nobody plays it anymore, because millions still do, but because the feeling people loved about old COD slowly disappeared over time. And honestly, that might be the saddest part. The franchise is still huge, but for a lot of players, it just does not feel like Call of Duty anymore. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And let me know what other games or gaming topics you want me to talk about next.